A 10 Investigates exclusive tonight, and it has to do with questions about some officers playing loose with the rules. Now, we all want sex offenders off the street, and if adults are preying on children, they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But what if officers were so aggressive that they were arresting scores of innocent men?
Now, these days, law enforcement isn't just looking for predators. They're also using tactics to trying to trick law-abiding citizens who merely posted personal ads on traditional dating sites. Investigative reporter Noah Pransky has the story.
You think you know how these stings go down. Cops post an ad for an underage teen, wait for predators to respond, then arrest them when they show up in person.
If I had Grady's world, they'd all go to prison.
But what so many of our local law enforcement leaders are not telling you is that they've had to try harder and harder over the years to trick men into showing up. 10 Investigates has learned through court documents and arrest reports that law enforcement is now reaching out themselves to young men who did nothing more than post an ad on a traditional dating site. Cops form a rapport, then switch their age and try to trick the sometimes hesitant men to keep on talking. It's a tactic local judges are lashing out against.
The government made a concerted effort to lure him into committing a crime.
The officer failed to follow the procedure.
The law does not tolerate government action to provoke a law-abiding citizen to commit a crime.
A recent Manatee County case was dismissed because undercover officers kept baiting a young man into talking about sex over the phone.
I don't know, what could you teach me?
The judge ruled entrapment.
What do you want me to wear?
And said the approach had no place in modern-day law enforcement. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd oversees all West and Central Florida sting operations.
There's concern that when detectives are going after men who are posting legal ads on legal sites, that's crossing the line.
The concern is that you inflate your investigative reporting to make it glitzy. Go talk to the mamas of these babies that are being stalked online.
I would say I am one of those mamas.
10 Investigates agreed to conceal the identity of this local mother whose son was targeted in a predator roundup. He was 22 when he responded to an ad of a 26-year-old woman, but she drew him in, then switched her age to 13. He didn't believe her and took her up on the offer to meet. He was arrested, and now he'll forever be known as a sexual offender.
He had a life of promise. He had an education. All that's been shot.
She says opportunistic lawmen are ignoring real problems in favor of a good press conference. In fact, 10 Investigates got a hold of the federal agreement for these task forces, and on a list of ranked priorities, predator stings comes in dead last. That's why Pasco County Sheriff Chris Nocco has his detectives focus on other areas of cybercrime, like child porn and human trafficking. He says predator stings are time-consuming, expensive, and ultimately not worth it if detectives have to bend the rules to get arrests.
You spend your resources, you arrest somebody, and then they walk right out. It's the biggest waste ever.
Coming up tomorrow night in part 2 of our investigation, we'll show you how most of the men facing a lifetime of discipline and shame aren't the middle-aged predators law enforcement wants you to believe. They're young men, many of them teenagers, who are simply trying to meet women their own age. In the newsroom, Noah Pransky, 10 Investigates.